and launch a nuke. I'll do a slow one just so you guys, whoever hasn't launched a nuke before, kind of has the idea of how to launch one. First off, you have to go ahead and find the missile silos. They're all on the Savage Divide. There's one towards the south, one towards the center, and one towards the top. I'm at Site Alpha. So there's Charlie. There's where I'm at. Site Alpha. And Site Bravo is right there towards the north of the map. It's pretty simple to launch a nuke. I'd say the worst part would be the radiation room. And I'm questioning whether or not somebody has already been here. Maybe I need to check. You can buy a missile silo holotape over at the Enclave, and they'll tell you, yeah. So that tells me I can actually launch all three if I wanted. I've done it before, but I have family coming today, so I'm not gonna do a three-way. So a couple good spots to hit up while you're in the main areas. You got these weights, and you pick those up, you scrap them, and you get a bunch of lead for it. Lead is one of the more annoying things trying to farm if you don't know where to farm. Plastic is probably the runner-up. So go ahead and grab these. Yeah, you'll be overweight, but later on I'll show you where a scrapping bench is. These little blue key cards, you do need to grab one. Depending if you don't want somebody jumping in your silo and screwing with your stuff, there are multiple ones. I've actually gone out of my way before because people used to do it all the time. I'd go around and pick up all the little cards, and I may leave one just in case I have a friend that wanted to join. But people do that a little less. I'm not sure why this is all shot to hell. Somebody may be doing the nuke, I don't know. But we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. And while we do that, right now we're getting scanned. You need that for your ID card. So originally I didn't explain it very well. When you get your key card, you do come back to this room and you swipe it, and that actually wipes your card clean. So that's when you can go to that other room, get poked and prodded, and that's where you'll get your biometric screening. After that, you come to the computer. You'll tell it to fabricate your ID card, and that will be the end of this first spot. I don't think there's any specific order that it has to be done aside from wiping your card first. This is a little laggy for a silo, so it'll take a moment for it to register and let me through, which worries me because the radiation room is not fun, especially when you're lagging. But I can show you guys a shortcut way to get out of having to do the radiation room. It's really up to you guys if you want to do it. I'll probably do it just because occasionally you'll find a legendary in there. I tend to kill anything and everything that I can find, just so if I do die, I don't have to worry about, oh, you know, something's gonna come chase me down that I forgot and ends up killing me. And here's a assault round. A lot of people say they're hard, and yeah, they can be. It just kind of depends. I could always do more videos based off of builds, show you what kind of weapons and gear that could potentially help out your builds. For me, I don't think there's really anything I struggle with. The other day, I actually did post a video. I soloed the Imposter Sheep Splotch. I died a couple times, but that's kind of expected. The whole point is to just unload and not worry so much about living. You can always respawn. So inside these specific little cabinets, if you're one of those that like to farm the technical data, those are actually really good sources to have a pretty good chance of technical data dropping. So this is a radiation room. Almost every silo I've seen has turrets or buttes up there, and easiest way through it is just use VATs. Use your VATs. It'll zoom in on it. You'll be able to... Something blew up over here. Was it a legendary? Not that I see. Oh, I was a little hopeful. These desks also have a pretty good chance of giving you technical data. Before we start it up, what I typically like to do is make sure that I clear out this area first. I am a bloody build, and for some weird reason I'm a glutton for punishment and end up running low health while I'm in here when I probably shouldn't be. Especially since unyielding armor does not get any bonus. Ooh, there's a legendary right there. You don't get any bonuses aside from your bloodied weapon. So there's virtually really no big reason to run low health. Okay, crap. Mr. Jangles. I actually got lucky. Sometimes these do have turrets and they can be kind of a pain in the ass. Well, I'll take it. So this is the back of the power room. This is where you can get you can repair your weapons, you can repair your armor. In my case, I just scrap. Kind of ease up a bit on that weight. So right now, I'm not overweight, which is shocking. Usually I am... Ooh, mentats. Berry mentats. Those are awesome to have. Okay. This should be almost cleared out. I think the downside to this one is that I think the orange robots end up spawning. Okay, you come to this back room, there's a little computer. You will shut down the reactor, and that's when you can make your repairs. It may take you a couple times, or you can just watch the video a ton of times. You gotta repair these little pipes, and when they're all repaired you can end up restarting everything. I can completely tell that this is lagging because I'm repairing and it's not registering yet, so it'll register later. Question is will it let me restart everything beforehand, before the timer runs out? The reactor is now online. Yeah.
prototype form. Maintenance procedure.
This is usually the only room that really lags that I've noticed. Yeah, I could be wrong. Everybody kind of has different experiences. On the top right, you can see your time and your progress on repairing it. It's a lot like trying to repair the reactors for power plants. Same concept, nothing different. Thinking this is going to try to toy with me and have my time run out and everything is repaired. If you have trouble trying to find some of these, you can listen for the hissing, and the hissing will, if you play with your sound on and at a decent volume, you should be able to hear the cracks in the pipes, and you just kind of follow the sound and everything is good from there. I'm playing and I actually have my volume turned down a bit.
A level 2 security event is in progress.
Awesome, so that means I don't have to redo this room.
Restart successful. Right. Reactor system integrity restored.
Because we're done with here, it's no longer radioactive, we can put our stuff back on.
Doors. Please stand clear of the doors.
Virtual bindings. Alright, so if you wanted to do the shortcut, you would come over here. There's a lock that has the level 3 pick locking. You'll still have to go in the radiation, obviously, but you can bypass the whole thing. Just go ahead and pick lock this. You do need 3 lock picking and 3 hacking to be able to do this. If you don't have it, then you're going to waste your time. The computer... It would be this computer over here. Let's put my stuff back. It's kind of redundant to do it now that I got it all done. But for the sake of teaching, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in there anyways. You would have to pay attention behind you. There's usually 2 turrets over there. Alright, go in here. Hopefully you'll figure out what the passcode is. I never go 4N just because I don't really care to wait like 30 seconds or whatever to have it reset for me to be able to do what I want. I know that every word you select there's a likeliness. So like that one's a 0. These big long ones that's highlighted, that's just gibberish. You can hit those and sometimes I'll reset your tries. I just locked myself out. Anyways, that would be the terminal that you go to unlock the door. If you haven't done the reactor room, this door would be closed and that's what that would open. if you do have a chance, I like to bring an explosive weapon with me. Even though obviously I'm not using an explosive weapon is very useful when it comes to stuff like this. This speeds things up.
All personnel to defend the mainframe and secure the area. Mainframe Integrity Act. What? Mainframe Integrity Act. 75%.
Oh Lord, let me through.
Unidentified intruder detected.
Realize not letting me through. Probably more lag, which is never a good sign. Oh, there now it lets me in. I used to do this with grenades, and kind of goes hit and miss. Sometimes it'll take out the reactors, sometimes not. Or the mainframe cores, sorry. But the spread is really high. I didn't even see it over here, and it took those out. You can go ahead and pull everything in here if you want. It's up to you. It's not a huge necessity. Yay, I died. All because I didn't have my handmade out, but it happens. Luckily, I can show you now. You no longer spawn outside. You spawn inside the silo, which makes things so much nicer. They used to throw you outside and you'd have to go through all the loading screens. Back when server stability was less than ideal, things would take quite a bit longer and aggravations were just kind of up. I'm glad that they decided to do it this way. So this time we are going to do it right. Much easier to pick up our stuff. Let's go ahead and
security required. Mainframe Integrity Act. 25%.
Soltrons are also a good source of food. Sometimes I'm not able to kill Soltrons. Fucking move! Sorry, my cats are deciding to annoy me. I guess this is why most people don't allow their pets inside their room.
Mainframe integrity compromised. Avoiding security protocol.
A lot of people complain when it comes to explosive weapons that it kills them. If you use the... what mod was it? I want to say it's dense? Let's look at what I got. Yeah, use dense. And there you go. I'm not even phasing myself. I know shotguns are quite a bit more of a worry when it comes to explosives. Me personally, I don't really care for shotguns. They're too situational for me to really care. Unless you're doing something like White Springs, I just could not see a huge benefit towards a shotgun build. They're strong, but again, very close range. So in here there's usually turrets as well. I'm apparently just really lucky because I'm not getting any turrets. I'm sure at the end I'll probably have a couple turrets. I think somebody's in here as well. Another food star. Another piece of crap. So this is the shortcut to be able to get in. I personally never open this. The storage room access cuts your time in half if you die. And right over there is actually where we originally started out when we passed those grids. So you'd just be able to pass through, but anybody who comes in the silo will be able to go past that. Which brings up a little bit more possibility that somebody might steal your nuke. It doesn't always happen, but then again, I haven't launched nukes in a while. This is the mainframe room over here by this big old door. You're gonna open this up for the terminal. Won't really do anything, but your quest will update. That's when you start taking the cores. You can't shoot them. Around this area, you can find fixed mainframe cores. Like there's one right here. You can just slap those in. But for those who don't collect them, especially now that they weigh 1.5 pounds, it's almost more of a burden to carry them. You have to go and repair them over at the Tinker Bench. You need 15 of them. Which I ran out of steel, but there's steel everywhere. I mean, go around the place, loot. There's always steel, and if you just can't find any for some horrible roll of bad luck, you can always try to find those mainframe cores that are already replaced or fixed. I think I may have enough because I did, unless I need them. No, I don't think I put them in my stash. Well, while that's deciding to do that, we're gonna go search around and loot some stuff. I'll do a video another time as well. I can show you guys more about vendors and how to make them a bit more successful. A lot of it ends up being location and prices. And also your patience. If you decide you're going to obviously make something very overpriced, it's going to sit there for a little while. Yep, looks like I had enough. So we'll go back to the computer, unlock the door. When it decides to let me. Now that door's open.
Additional security required.
I do suggest because if you're anything like me, I get annoyed at random noises that I can't figure out where things are. Because this room is actually right above that room we were just in. At minimum, make sure you're taking out that big robot. I can't remember what it was called. He'll make all sorts of noise, and you're going to be looking around for him. Should you die and have to run back, he can be a bit of a hassle.
Control room active. All stations standing by. Proceed to the launch control terminal to initiate the launch prep sequence.
So this is a launch prep area. There's tons of turrets that are always in here aside from now, apparently. Which I'm getting good luck on that. But you still want to run around and you want to find anything and everything that you can kill. It will save you a headache later. There's usually a turret over there too. Because what's going to happen is when you do the launch prep, it's going to start spawning these friendly robots, and they'll take their position, and you got to protect them. And if you don't clear it out, you have much higher odds that they're going to go ahead and get killed. Then you got to wait for them to respawn, which you go to computers like this and you reassemble them. It's not fun. I prefer having the nukes going as fast as possible, just because I've done so many of these that I don't find them horribly fun. Not for, well, these would be those friendly robots I was talking about. I think somebody gave up. I think I missed a robot, but we will go ahead and do the launch prep.
Launch prep sequence initiated.
Yeah, I really think somebody tried to do this a couple times and just did not pan out very well for them, which sucks. Sucks for them at least. It doesn't really bug me.
Unsanctioned launch in progress. Security teams to the control room. Security teams to the control room. All personnel to your stations.
Here comes those robots. This is probably why he gave up, is because the amount of robots that are spawning. I have noticed if I don't have any turrets that spawn, it seems like I have a pretty good chance that I'm gonna have a lot of robot spawns. You can find a couple spots you can usually camp. Up here would be one of them, because usually he's the first one that they're gonna go after. And forgive the blurriness, it's a VATS bug. I'm not sure if there's a way to get past that aside from using VATS all over. Oh, VATS all over again. If you're a bloodied build, make sure that you stay stealth. Yeah, there we go. Now the screen's not so blurry. Make sure this guy's still doing good. Yeah, good on those. There are invisible Assaultrons that like to show up every so often. You won't really notice them, but they do show up and they sneak around and they will try to kill those guys. This is actually, I remember when the game came out, this was the first place I ever found the Brotherhood of Steel stuff before they made it insanely easy to just go to vendors and pick them up. For the nuke codes, you can either do the quest to try to decipher them, or you can go into Google and look up nukecrypt.com, and they'll give you a list of the current launch codes. Me personally, I don't think I've ever done actual deciphering. But the codes are updated weekly. Tuesdays, I think, are the code resets. So I think you get like the first half of the day where you can use the regular nuke codes, but later that day they reset, and obviously people have to go out there and try to figure out what the code is. Then they'll put it on that website. If you wait till Wednesday, it's pretty much, I think it is guaranteed. I don't think I've ever seen a time where it wasn't guaranteed, but the codes will show up on there after a day. There's plenty of stuff you can loot in here. I don't highly recommend doing that while trying to defend the place. But they're being nice on me apparently. So I can kind of multitask and just listen for something to shoot. I need to eat something. I heard the Sultron. Where is she? There she is. She does do quite a bit of damage, especially if you struggle trying to find her. Alright, so it goes red, everything's fine. You'll take your key card, you'll slide it.
Key card accepted. Keypad access granted.
Then we'll go ahead and put in the code. I know it's alpha. So it's 66835 244. Alright.
Access granted.
So it's lagging. I know I already put in the code. Is going to take a few. Alright, so this is what the launch screen ends up looking at. You can launch it anywhere except for this green area. What I was kind of curious is you can't even get around the green area. You could strategize and see what level of players are on. Obviously, higher levels, better odds for a queen run. I might do a queen run just because this doesn't look very promising for. We don't have very many options. Haven't seen anybody launch at White Springs in a while. First, before I do that, I'll explain the Queen launch. So Fisher Site Prime is where the Queen launches. You see a ton of people who just place it like this. Horrible placement. Do not place it like that. A lot of, at least it used to be, and it still tends to be, that people rely on bloodied builds to kind of do the most damage to get her down in time. If you do something like that, that means either somebody's not going to want to show up because they're the bloody build, or because they're going to have to wear a prototype suit or hazmat suit. Or you can do a good placement anywhere where you see that Fisher Site Prime is pulsating. That means it'll be active. But you want to keep drop site V9 cleared. If you... Glass Cavern doesn't really matter, but I would recommend getting that clear. An ideal placement would be... That one's actually... So about right there would be an ideal spot. Let's go and just launch it. So we got V9 that's cleared. Glass caverns are cleared. The reason why we go south usually, or a little more west, is because it'll, when you launch a nuke and you die, it predetermines where you're going to end up going for a respawn, and it gets really annoying when you get thrown into the middle of a radiation zone and you're not one of those power armor people. That is the nuclear silos. Each one is the same aside from turret placement. The objectives are all the same, and hopefully this video will help you guys out, and hopefully we'll see some more launches going on, and maybe answer some questions for people who just aren't experienced. So I appreciate you guys watching. Feel free to click subscribe, leave a comment. I do take suggestions, so whoever's in the community, if you have a suggestion of what you may want to see, go ahead and drop a comment, and I will more than likely know how to do it, and I'll make it happen. It can, you know, so with that, have a good one.